In this video, we are going to talk about top 12 strongest militaries in the world. So before starting this video, like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel for future updates. The strength of a country's armed forces on land, sea, and in the air is directly proportionate to the degree of national security the country enjoys. Because of this, a significant portion of the available funds in the budget has been set aside specifically for them. Countries all around the world are spending billions of dollars in order to bolster their military forces on the outside, in order to discourage threats from the outside, and in order to protect their own nation. Here are top 12 strongest militaries in the world. Number 12. Egypt, budget, $4.4 billion. The Egyptian military is not only one of the most powerful but also one of the region's oldest armed forces. Additionally, it has the distinction of being among the most potent in its class. It receives a substantial amount of financial help from the United States, and it has the fifth largest tank fleet in the whole globe. It houses close to 1,000 Abrams M1A1 tanks, the most of which are in storage and have not been deployed in battle at any point in time. In addition to the 468,500 active soldiers who are now stationed on the front lines, it has 4,624 tanks, 1,107 airplanes, and 4 submarines. Additionally, Egypt has an air force that is, to a certain extent, significant. Number 11. Pakistan, budget, $7 billion. The Pakistani military is among the largest in the world in terms of the number of active personnel it has, placing it among the top armed forces in the world. It has a total of 914 airplanes, 8 submarines, 2,924 tanks, and 617,000 troops who are actively serving on the front lines. Additionally, it has a total of 914 tanks in its inventory. In addition, Credit Suisse recognizes that the country has substantial fleets of planes, assault helicopters, and tanks. It is thought that Pakistan is creating nuclear weapons at a rate that is quick enough for it to have the third largest nuclear arsenal in the world over the next decade. This prediction is based on the belief that Pakistan is producing nuclear weapons at a rate that is rapid enough. Number 10. Turkey, budget, $18.2 billion. The Turkish armed forces are very strong and well equipped, ranking among the highest in both categories in the Eastern Mediterranean. In addition to the 410,500 personnel who are actively serving on the front lines, it boasts a total of 1,020 aircraft, 3,778 tanks, and 13 submarines. In spite of the fact that it does not have an aircraft carrier, Turkey has more submarines than all of the other countries on the list that Credit Suisse prepared except for 5 of them. In addition, the country has a big number of aircraft, attack helicopters, and tanks, making it one of the largest tank fleets in the world. In addition, as a member country of the F-35 program, Turkey is a committed participant in the development of the aircraft. Number 9. United Kingdom, budget, $60.5 billion. It has 146,980 active frontline men, 407 tanks, a total of 936 aircrafts, and 10 submarines in its arsenal. Even though the United Kingdom intends to cut the number of its armed forces by 20% between the years 2010 and 2018, it is certain that it will still be able to project its might all over the globe. In the year 2020, the Royal Navy intends to bring into service the HMS Queen Elizabeth, an aircraft carrier with a flight deck that spans 4.5 acres and is capable of transporting 40 F-35B Joint Strike Fighters to various locations around the world. Number 8. Italy, budget, $34 billion. In addition to its 320,000 troops who are actively serving on the front lines, it owns a total of 760 aircraft, 586 tanks. In addition to that, it has a total of 6 submarines in its possession. The fact that Italy has not 1 but 2 aircraft carriers that are in full operational readiness was a crucial factor that contributed to the country's high rank on the report that was released by Credit Suisse. The introduction of these carriers, in addition to Italy's relatively sizable submarine and attack helicopter fleets, helped the country's overall position to improve by a significant amount, bringing it closer to that of its competitors. This was accomplished by bringing Italy's position in line with those of its competitors. Number 7. South Korea, budget, $62.3 billion. there are now 624,465 active troops serving on the front lines, along with 1,421 airplanes and 13 submarines. In addition to that, it has 2,381 tanks. As a result of the limited alternatives that are open to it, South Korea has been left with no choice but to strengthen and improve the capabilities of its armed forces in order to be ready for the potential that North Korea may launch an attack on it. South Korea maintains a substantial active military force consisting of attack helicopters, submarines, and active soldiers despite the aforementioned facts. In addition, this country has an impressive number of tanks and the air force that is the sixth largest in the whole globe. Number 6. France, budget, $62.3 billion. In its armament, it has 202,761 active frontline personnel, 423 tanks, a total of 423 aircrafts, and 10 submarines. The French military forces are not extremely big, but they are highly professional, very well trained, and have the ability to project power. In order to aid in the fight against terrorism and the stability of governments throughout Africa, France often takes part in military deployments that take place all around the continent. The nation's aircraft carrier, which goes under the name Charles de Gaulle, is virtually as good as new, and the country also has other cutting-edge military gear at its disposal. Number 5. India, budget, $50 billion. It currently has 1,325,000 active troops, 6,464 tanks, 1,905 planes, and 15 submarines fighting for it on the front lines of the conflict. There is widespread agreement among a variety of authoritative sources that the Indian armed forces are among the most formidable in the world. In addition to having the most tanks and planes of any nation in the world other than the United States of America, China, and Russia, it also has the most active personnel of any nation in the world other than China and the United States of America. In other words, it is the most militarily advanced country in the world. In addition to this, there is the possibility that India will eventually acquire nuclear weapons. It is anticipated that within a relatively short amount of time, it will rise to the position of being the fourth largest military spender on the planet. Currently, the United States is the largest military spender on the planet. Number 4. Japan, budget, $41.6 billion. Along with its total of 247,173 active frontline personnel, it has a total of 1,613 aircraft, 678 tanks, and 16 submarines. The budget allocated to the Japanese military is a relatively little part of the overall amount spent on military expenditures across the globe. In spite of this, the country has an extraordinarily robust military presence. According to Credit Suisse, it has the fourth largest submarine fleet out of all of the nations that are included on the list. In addition, Japan has 4 aircraft carriers, however, these specific ships are only armed with helicopter fleets rather than other types of aircraft. In addition to this, Japan's attack helicopter fleet is the 4th largest in the world, ranking only behind those of China, Russia, and the United States of America. Number 3. China, budget, $216 billion. In addition to the 2,333,000 active frontline personnel it has a total of 2,860 aircraft, 9,150 tanks, and 67 submarines. Both in terms of its size and its capabilities, the Chinese military has seen a phenomenal increase over the course of the last few decades. It employs the greatest number of personnel, which contributes to its status as the most powerful military in the world. In addition, its submarine fleet is the 2nd largest in the world, behind only the United States, and its tank fleet is the 2nd largest in the world, behind Russia's. As part of China's continuous effort to upgrade its armed forces, the country is now working on the development of a number of potentially game-changing pieces of military technology. These include ballistic missiles and aircraft of the 5th generation. Additionally, China has made significant advancements in the approach it uses to modernize its armed forces. Number 2. Russia, budget, $84.5 billion. In addition to its current frontline force strength of 766,055 men, it has a total of 3,429 aircraft, 15,398 tanks, and 55 submarines. This is all in addition to its active frontline troop strength. Unquestionably, the Russian military is now the second most powerful military force in the world. Russia's tank fleet is the largest in the world, and its aircraft fleet is the second largest in the world, after the United States. Russia's submarine fleet is the third largest in the world, behind China and the United States. The Kremlin's spending on the military has increased by more than a third since 2008, and it is expected that this spending would rise by an additional 44% over the next 3 years. Another example of Russia's ability to extend its authority beyond international frontiers is the recent deployment of Russian soldiers in Syria. Number 1. United States budget $601 billion. It possesses a total of 13,892 aircraft, 8,848 tanks, and 72 submarines, in addition to its active frontline soldiers of 1,400,000. In spite of sequestration and other expenditure reductions, the United States still spends more money on military than the following 9 nations combined, totaling $601 billion, according to Credit Suisse's index. The United States fleet of 10 aircraft carriers is its most significant edge in terms of conventional military might. India, on the other hand, which is now in the process of building its third carrier, has the second most carriers of any country in the world. The United States also has by far the most aircraft of any nation, cutting-edge equipment like as the Navy's new railgun, and a vast and well-trained human force, and this does not even take into account the fact that it possesses the greatest nuclear arsenal in the world. What do you think about this video? Do let us know in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video and want to hear from us again, be sure to hit that subscribe button before you go.